Imagine living in a world that never stops moving. People rush. Notifications buzz. Expectations pull you in every direction. But now, imagine yourself standing still, calm, clear, and untouched by the chaos. That is what Marcus Aurelius mastered. As Emperor of Rome, he held more power than any man alive. Yet, unlike the rulers who came before and after him, he did not chase pleasure or control. He chased inner peace. Through the ancient discipline of Stoicism, he learned how to remain grounded even in the storm. He wrote not for an audience, but for himself, capturing the timeless truths that helped him lead with clarity and act with calm. Today, we will walk alongside those truths. We will uncover the 10 core Stoic lessons that helped him face fear, betrayal, and uncertainty with unshakable poise. These lessons are not abstract ideals. They are practical tools you can use right now to calm your mind and strengthen your soul. If you have ever felt overwhelmed, lost in the noise, or unsure of how to hold yourself together in a world that constantly pulls you apart, then this message is for you. And if you are here, you are not like most people. You are searching for something deeper. Before we dive in, I ask for just one thing. A small gesture. Please subscribe to this channel. It is a free way to help us grow and reach more minds ready for change. Together, we are building a place of clarity and strength. Now, take a deep breath, steady yourself, and let us begin. These are the 10 Stoic lessons from Marcus Aurelius to keep calm, no matter what life throws your way. Lesson number 1. Do less to feel more peace. Marcus Aurelius believed that the secret to a calmer mind was not found in doing more, but in doing less. He observed how people waste their energy chasing distractions, engaging in meaningless conversations, or obsessing over things that do not matter. In his view, simplicity was strength. Stillness was power. The Stoic path is not about laziness or detachment. It is about eliminating what is unnecessary, so that what is essential can shine. You may feel pulled in 1,000 directions each day, but how much of that is truly required? How much of your busyness is just noise, an escape from being still with your own thoughts? Marcus taught that we must examine every action and ask, is this necessary? If it is not, let it go. Free your time. Free your mind. This discipline is not easy. It demands brutal honesty and constant self-awareness. But when you stop scattering your energy across pointless tasks, when you stop speaking just to fill silence, you begin to feel a rare kind of peace. You stop rushing. You start living deliberately. Marcus even spoke of talking less. Why? Because words have weight. And when we speak mindlessly, we lose that weight. So we return to what matters. We work not more, but better. We act not faster, but with intention. We stop trying to be everywhere and instead focus on being fully present in the moment before us. This is the paradox of peace. You do less, but you become more. You chase less, but you find more. You step out of the chaos not by overpowering it, but by refusing to let it in. Lesson number 2. Take short escapes to return to yourself. In a world addicted to running away, Marcus Aurelius reminds you that you don't need to go anywhere to find peace. Not to the mountains, not to the beach, not to some distant place that promises tranquility. Because the most silent and sacred refuge already lives within you. He wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions, than your own soul." You carry that sanctuary everywhere you go. You do not need plane tickets or perfect weather to access it. You just need to turn inward. This is not just philosophy. It is practical survival in a chaotic world. When life overwhelms you, when emotions cloud your vision, when expectations exhaust your spirit, the solution is not escape. The solution is retreat. Not outward, but inward. A few minutes of silence. A few breaths. A few words of reflection. That is all it takes to return to center. The Stoics called it a short escape. A pause in the storm. A moment of clarity in the noise. While others flee from their problems and return to them even more drained, you can learn to retreat into stillness and emerge stronger. Marcus believed that when you disconnect from the chaos of the outer world, you reconnect to the truth of who you are. He encouraged simple contemplation. Remind yourself that things have no power over the soul unless you give it to them. That all things you see will soon fade and pass. That the world is nothing but change. That life is only perception. When you realize this deeply, you stop reacting. You stop being pulled around by forces you cannot control. You begin to master yourself. And with mastery comes peace. This kind of escape is not about denial. It is about preparation. You are not avoiding the world. You are preparing yourself to face it. Stoicism is not about turning away from life. It is about returning to it with more clarity, more strength, and more calm. In practice, these escapes can be as simple as closing your eyes for 1 minute, sitting in stillness at the beginning of the day, journaling your thoughts before bed, choosing reflection instead of reaction. These micro-retreats are the secret to long-term endurance. You begin to see the patterns in your mind. You begin to notice the fears that keep returning. You begin to unlearn what does not serve you. And you gain a kind of armor that no noise can pierce. Remember, you don't need to disappear to find peace. You need to show up differently. From within. So the next time the world asks you to run, choose instead to pause. Go within. Reclaim your mind. Reconnect with your soul. And then, return to life, not as a prisoner of chaos, but as a master of calm. That is the Stoic way. That is your way. Lesson number 2 is not about escape. It is about coming home to yourself. Lesson number 3. Remember, all shall pass. This is one of the most calming and powerful Stoic principles you can carry in your heart. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome and a devoted student of Stoicism, constantly reminded himself of this truth. Everything in life is temporary. Joy, pain, success, failure, love, grief, fame, humiliation, all of it is destined to pass. Nothing lasts forever. And when you truly grasp this, you stop trying to control what you cannot hold. You stop clinging. You stop fearing loss. Instead, you begin to live with a quiet strength, knowing that whatever you are feeling now will not last forever. You stop letting your emotions control you. When things are going well, you stay humble. When life feels overwhelming, you stay grounded. Because deep down, you remember this feeling too will fade. This is the essence of inner peace. Marcus wrote that the universe is constant change and our life is what our thoughts make it. He understood that suffering often comes not from the events themselves, but from how we react to their presence and disappearance. If you believe a moment of happiness must last forever, you will suffer when it ends. If you think pain is permanent, you will sink into despair. But if you see both as passing clouds, your mind stays clear. This truth can be a shield. When someone insults you, ask yourself, will this matter a week from now, a year from now? When you win something big, ask yourself, will this feeling stay forever? It grounds you. It humbles you. It protects you from becoming arrogant in victory and broken in defeat. Even your worst day is not the end of the story. Even your best day is not the whole picture. You are part of something much larger, and everything you experience is just a small ripple in a vast ocean of time. Use this truth. Let it calm your nerves. Let it remind you not to hold on too tightly or fear too deeply. Let it guide you to a quieter life, a wiser life, a stronger life. Because once you understand that all things pass, you are no longer owned by your circumstances. You become unshakable. And that, according to Marcus Aurelius, is what makes you truly free. Lesson number 4. Focus only on what you can control is one of the most liberating truths you will ever internalize. Imagine a storm raging outside your home. The wind howls, the rain crashes against the windows, the world outside feels chaotic and unpredictable. But inside, Within the four walls you command, you light a candle. You sit quietly. You read. You think. You breathe. This is what Marcus Aurelius meant when he spoke of focusing only on what you can control. You cannot stop the storm. You cannot dictate the winds. But you can always command yourself. Your thoughts. Your responses. Your actions. In the face of life's hurricanes, this realization becomes your anchor. When you accept that most things are outside your influence, you stop wasting precious energy trying to manipulate them. You stop trying to change people who refuse to change. You stop replaying conversations in your mind, hoping to rewrite them. You stop fearing the future, because the future is a realm you will never own. You return, instead, to this moment, to this breath, to this decision you can make right now. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that the things that disturb us do not reside in the events themselves, but in our judgments about them. And judgments, you see, are fully within your command. The Stoics weren't passive. They weren't resigned. They were powerful because they knew where true power begins. Not in wealth. Not in reputation. Not even in health. But in choice. You can choose how to meet the situation in front of you. You can choose what meaning you assign to it. You can choose what words you speak, what tone you take, what values you embody. And that choice, made again and again, becomes your fortress of calm. In a world that thrives on reaction, you become the exception. You become the still one in the center of the storm. There is no greater strength. To live this principle is not always easy. It means pausing before you lash out. It means breathing before you complain. It means remembering, in your hardest moments, that you still hold the power to decide who you will be. Every single day will test you. People will provoke you. Life will surprise you. But remember this lesson, and you will not be broken. Because while the world is outside of your hands, your soul is not. And if you guard it well, if you return to it like Marcus did, again and again, you will discover something rare. You will discover peace, not as a concept, but as a living force. Not as a dream, but as a daily reality. And that, in the end, is the Stoic path. Not to change the world, but to master the only thing that ever truly belonged to you. Yourself. Lesson number 5. Never play the victim is a principle that redefines how you experience hardship. It is not about ignoring pain or pretending that life is fair. It is about reclaiming your power in a world that often seeks to take it from you. You see, when you view yourself as a victim, you give away your strength. You surrender your ability to respond. You hand over your story to the very circumstances you despise. But Marcus Aurelius, standing at the helm of an empire under siege, never allowed himself to fall into that trap. Despite war, betrayal, sickness, and loss, he kept reminding himself that the worst suffering comes not from events, but from how we interpret them. And you, just like him, have that choice. Every time something breaks, or someone leaves, or the world hits you in the face, you stand at a crossroads. You can blame, complain, collapse. Or you can rise. You can look at what happened and ask, what now? What does this reveal about me? What can I learn? What will I do next? Because in that moment, you are no longer a victim. You are a creator. You are an architect of your own destiny. And nothing, absolutely nothing, is more powerful than that. The Stoics believed that every obstacle was a test, a challenge handed to you by life itself to sharpen you, to train you, to bring out the gold hidden beneath the layers of your comfort. When you say, "This is unfair," you stop growing. But when you say, "This is mine to face," you grow wings. You become unshakable. You become the kind of person who does not beg for mercy from the world, but instead, shows mercy to others. Who does not scream for attention, but walks quietly with strength. Who does not complain, but creates. Playing the victim might win you sympathy, but it will never earn you respect, and it will never bring you peace. Peace only comes from responsibility. And that begins the moment you stop pointing fingers and start asking yourself the hardest question of all. Who am I choosing to be right now? The day you stop blaming others is the day your real life begins. Because no matter what happened to you, you still own your breath. You still own your voice. You still own your next move. And in that sacred space between pain and response, you are free. So do not waste your freedom. Use it to build yourself into someone you are proud of. That is what Marcus did. That is what you can do. And that is how you rise above the chaos, not as someone broken by life, but as someone reborn through it. Lesson number 6. Embrace voluntary discomfort not because suffering is noble, but because strength must be trained. When Marcus Aurelius chose to sleep on the floor or skip a meal, he was not punishing himself. He was preparing himself. In the comfort of his palace, surrounded by luxury, he understood that true power came not from what surrounded him, but from what he could endure without losing his center. And you, too, live in a world that wants to soften you, pamper you, numb you. But calm does not grow in comfort. It grows in contrast. It grows in choosing, day by day, to expose yourself to a little less ease and a little more edge. Not to suffer, but to sharpen. The Stoics practiced discomfort so they would not be crushed by misfortune when it arrived. Because it always does. And when it does, the one who has trained will stand, not panic. When you fast on purpose, you teach your mind that hunger is not the end of the world. When you endure cold or walk instead of ride, you learn that difficulty does not break you. It reveals you. Every small hardship, when embraced, is a message to your soul. It says, I am not afraid of pain. I can sit with it, walk with it, learn from it. And when you learn to do this with the small things, you will be unshaken when life throws the big ones. Voluntary discomfort is not about being miserable. It is about being free. Free from the trap of needing everything to be just right. Free from the lie that you need more to be enough. It reconnects you to the raw core of who you are. Not the one scrolling, consuming, hiding. But the one who can face the storm and feel no fear. Marcus Aurelius did not wait for the world to teach him. He taught himself. And that is your challenge now. Start small. Skip a pleasure. Take the stairs. Sleep without the pillow. Speak less when you want to impress. Each choice is a stone in the fortress of your will. And that will become peace. Because when you know you can live with less, nothing owns you. And when nothing owns you, no one controls you. In that space, calm is not an accident. It is your choice. It is your strength. It is the natural result of knowing you can endure. So begin today. Not to suffer, but to shape yourself into someone the storms cannot shake. Lesson number 7. Live like it is your last day. Every morning you wake up, you are gifted another breath. But that breath is not a guarantee of more. It is a temporary blessing, one that can vanish without warning. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that death is always near. Not to invite fear, but to inspire clarity. When you carry the awareness that each moment could be your last, you begin to live with fierce intentionality. Suddenly, arguments feel pointless. Grudges feel heavy. Regret feels like wasted time. And what once seemed like a chore becomes a sacred opportunity to live with integrity. The Stoics called this practice memento mori, the remembrance of death. It was never about morbid obsession. It was about alignment. When you remember that your time is limited, you naturally become more present, more grateful, more focused. You stop putting off your values for another day. You stop saying, I'll be better tomorrow, because tomorrow is not promised. And that is the key. A Stoic does not fear death. He respects it. He learns from it. And he uses it as a mirror to examine how he spends each day. Marcus would often reflect on this: do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. These are not just words. They are commands to your soul. When you begin to live like today is your final sunrise, you speak more kindly. You love more deeply. You focus only on what matters. You simplify your life. You let go of what no longer serves you, and you hold tight to what does. That is the Stoic way. Not waiting. Not postponing. But acting now. Living now. Choosing now. And when death finally comes, as it will for all of us, you can meet it with calm eyes and a steady heart, knowing you did not waste your gift. To live every day as your last is not about recklessness. It is about responsibility. To live clean. To think straight. To love well. To leave nothing unsaid that is worth saying. And to let your every action be a reflection of the best within you. That is what it means to live like a true Stoic. You do not need permission. You only need presence. Because the truth is, one day it really will be your last day. The question is, when that day comes, will you be ready? Will you be proud of how you lived, how you showed up, and how you carried the flame of your values in a world full of distractions? If the answer is yes, then you have already won. Lesson number 8. Control your response, not the world. You cannot stop the waves of life from crashing. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will change without warning. Plans will fall apart. But the Stoic does not waste energy trying to control what cannot be controlled. Instead, he masters the only thing that is truly his response. Marcus Aurelius knew that serenity does not come from manipulating the outside world. It comes from governing the inner world. He said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That truth is like a sword. It cuts away the illusions that steal your peace. You begin to understand that it is not the insult that hurts, but your interpretation of it. Not the failure that breaks you, but your refusal to accept it. Not the delay that angers you, but your expectation that everything should move on your timeline. The Stoic learns to pause, to breathe, to reflect. Before reacting, he asks, "Is this within my control?" If the answer is no, he releases it. If the answer is yes, he acts with calm purpose. This discipline creates power. Power over self. Power over emotion. And ultimately, power over how life feels. Because while you may not be able to command the wind, you can adjust your sails. Life will test you. It will throw people in your path who trigger anger, situations that trigger fear, outcomes that tempt despair. But these are only opportunities. Opportunities to practice your philosophy, to turn adversity into fuel, to choose virtue over chaos. That is where self-discipline begins. In the moment between stimulus and response. In that quiet space, you decide the quality of your character. You decide whether to rise above or sink below. And the beauty of this practice is that it compounds. The more you respond with wisdom, the less the world can shake you. You become unmoved by petty drama, unshaken by temporary pain. You carry peace not because life is easy, but because you have trained your soul to respond with grace. This is the heart of Stoicism. Not the avoidance of emotion, but the mastery of it. Not the denial of difficulty, but the refusal to be broken by it. So the next time you feel yourself pulled into reaction, remember Marcus. Remember his words. And choose not to be a slave to circumstance. Choose to be a master of response. Lesson number 9. Stop being a victim in your own mind. You are not what happened to you. You are not the pain you carry or the betrayals you endured. You are the one who decides what these experiences mean, and what you make of them. Marcus Aurelius never blamed the gods, the people, or the burden of ruling an empire for his suffering. Instead, he turned inward and asked the only question that truly matters. What part of this can I control? The Stoic does not play the victim because doing so means giving away the only real power you have, the power to shape your thoughts, your perceptions, your actions. The moment you begin pointing fingers, blaming circumstances, or demanding the world make you feel better, you've already lost your freedom. You've allowed outside forces to chain your mind. You've placed your peace and self-worth in the hands of people who may never understand you, and events you cannot change. Stoicism teaches that your life may not be your fault, but it is always your responsibility. Yes, pain may have knocked on your door. Yes, you may have been betrayed, underestimated, or left alone. But you are not defined by that pain unless you choose to be. You can stay in the story of the wound, or you can become the one who heals and walks forward with strength. When you tell yourself you are broken, unlucky, or doomed to repeat the past, you're reinforcing a lie. The truth is, your suffering can be turned into fuel. Your struggles can sharpen your focus. Your scars can become symbols of survival, not shame. Marcus Aurelius didn't let setbacks harden him or make him bitter. He saw them as reminders of impermanence and tests of character. He believed that adversity is not your enemy. It's your training ground. It's your proof that you're still in the fight. So stop waiting for the world to give you closure. Stop waiting for someone to come fix what hurt you. That person is you. You are the solution you've been searching for. The moment you stop saying, "Why me?" and start saying, "What now?" you reclaim your power. The moment you stop playing the victim, you start writing the next chapter of your life on your terms. That is Stoicism in action. That is real freedom. That is strength. Lesson number 10. End your day with deep self-reflection. At the close of each day, when the world quiets and the noise fades, you are left alone with your thoughts. This is where Stoicism becomes most personal, where Marcus Aurelius found his strength not in power or conquest, but in the private practice of evening reflection. He used the silence of night not to escape life but to face it with unwavering honesty. This daily ritual was never about guilt or shame. It was not a punishment. It was an invitation to truth, a sacred check-in with the soul. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What can I do better tomorrow? These were not questions of self-judgment, but of self-mastery. The Stoic does not wait for life to teach hard lessons. He teaches himself daily, in the calm moments when others scroll mindlessly or collapse into distraction. Marcus Aurelius knew that without reflection, we are doomed to repeat our unconscious mistakes. But with it, we build awareness. We identify patterns. We catch our ego in the act. And we become something sharper, stronger, more grounded. The practice is simple. You don't need candles or rituals. You don't need a temple. You only need 5 minutes, a pen if you wish, and the courage to face yourself as you are. Not who you pretend to be, not who the world sees, but who you truly are when no one's watching. And in those minutes, you will find your rawest power. You'll learn what triggered your impatience, where you allowed fear to speak louder than wisdom, and when you acted from strength instead of impulse. This isn't about perfection. Stoicism has no interest in flawlessness. It is about progress. It is about nudging the needle forward each day through awareness and intention. Reflection is how you strip away illusion. It's how you stay on course when life tries to pull you in 100 directions. It's how you catch the lies your mind tells to protect your ego and replace them with truths that build your character. The more you practice this, the less lost you feel. You stop reacting. You start responding. You live with alignment, not confusion. Marcus Aurelius didn't reflect because he was broken. He reflected because he was wise enough to know he could still grow. That's what made him powerful. And that is what will make you powerful too. A life examined daily is a life refined endlessly. That's how self-discipline is built. That's how peace is maintained. That's how you carry Stoicism from the page into your soul.